Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast.
Boom. What is going on, everybody? This is Jeremy from Brassman Reptiles. Rob will be joining us shortly as he's flown in from Snowmageddon, aka Massachusetts, and his flight was delayed. So he's currently on his way home, and then he'll be jumping in with us. But I'm super stoked for tonight's episode, and we'll get into that in just a second. But wanted to jump on, and of course, we're giving you updates on things that are going on. We're coming into March of 2026, which is crazy. Time is flying by so quickly. But with that comes movement in the breeding season across the board. Personally, I've got a couple of carpet pythons, one that just had her pre-lay shed. The other one should be going through that in the next, I'd say probably 2 or 3 days. Got some Amazons that are going together right now, some females that are starting to produce some follicles. So getting some pairs happening there, which is, of course, super exciting. Leopard geckos are laying so many eggs right now. It's kind of obnoxious. I think we're already 16 or 17 clutches in for the year, and we bred a lot of females. So there's going to be a lot of cool leopard geckos this year. Let's see what else is going on. Some short tail pairing has been going on as well. A couple of ball pythons floating around, just doing some ultra glow stuff and a handful of other things. Let's see. And colubrids. That's the other big one. Colubrids are finally coming up from brumation. So we're getting the first few meals into them. And already we've got some females that are just jumping right onto food, and Texas rat snakes already producing follicles, which is insane considering that they've really just been starting to get warmed up over the last couple of weeks. But they don't care. They're going right to it. So definitely excited for the 2026 season. I was nervous for most of our followers of the podcast know that I moved to a new facility just a few months ago. So that always provides a few hiccups as far as the breeding season goes, especially when you're just a few months before the breeding season and before brumation and stuff. So happy with how the season is going. Hopefully it continues on the path. We'll see. The biggest thing for me is going to be the Amazons and how they do with the move. It's a little easier with colubrids that, they go down for brumation for a few months and then they come back and it's like a reset button. Ball pythons are ball pythons. Leopard geckos are leopard geckos. Amazon tree boas are like, I moved. So hang on. We're going to take a little bit more time to figure this out. But like I said, already got a few that have started to cycle. So we'll see what the year has to offer. I'm just super excited. Before we bring Dayton on, want to, of course, get some more business out of the way. And that's shout out to our sponsors. Of course, our longtime sponsor, Black Box Cages. Go check them out, blackboxcages.com. Go get yourself a new cage, a new rack, a new hide, some awesome things that they are always producing over there. Blackboxcages.com. And if you use code Reptile Talk at checkout, you can save a little bit of money on your order, because who doesn't want to save money in today's crazy economy? So make sure you go check them out. Of course, links for everybody is down in the description of this video. Next, Raging Rodents here in Liberty, North Carolina. Massive shout out to Raging Rodents. Ted and Kathy are absolutely wonderful people. Easily the largest breeders of rodents in the Carolinas and potentially for a large portion of the Southeast. If you are in the Carolinas and you need a bulk supplier of rodents, come check us out. You can go check us out on Facebook and Instagram, Raging Rodents Liberty, and get yourself some feeders. All are USA domestically produced rodents, nothing coming in from overseas, because it matters. It matters. So go check them out. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, our good friends over at Kingsnake.com. Kingsnake.com has been a hub of herpetoculture for decades. So many of us, like myself included, got our start scouring Kingsnake, the classifieds, the forums, talking and arguing with other reptile breeders and keepers from all over the country and in some cases the world. Kingsnake is entering its new era with with a new facelift. The beta version of the mobile friendly classifieds has just been released within the last few weeks. So go check it out. And you can still go check out all of the awesome history, herp history, from all of these decades if you go over to the forums. And of course, just check all these things out. So continue to check back to kingsnake.com periodically as updates are constantly happening. Of course, a couple of weeks ago, I sat down with John and we talked Kingsnake. We talked reptiles. We just talked about him, his experience with herpetoculture and his journey. So go check that out. And of course, kingsnake.com. It doesn't really get much easier than that. Kingsnake.com. Go check them out. Again, everybody's link is down in the description of this video. So make sure you go check all of these guys out. And bam, that takes care of that. So Rob, as I said, will be joining us shortly, but we're not going to wait any longer. Let's get the man in here. I'm super stoked about this episode. As you guys know, we've had a couple of Amazon tree boa roundtables, and we wanted to get Dayton on, and schedules just haven't lined up. But I'm super excited to be able to have the chance to talk with him tonight. So let's get him in here. Dayton from HD Arboreals. What's going on, man?
How's it going?
It's going pretty well, man. Thank you for coming on and hanging, man.
Yeah, anytime.
Heck yeah, man. So for people who might not know you, but maybe have seen pretty pictures that have been posted on your page, what got you started in reptiles and what got you locked into Amazon tree boas?
Well, I've always been into reptiles. Since I was a kid. I convinced my mom to let me start keeping, some various species of snakes and stuff when I was in middle school. And
Cool.
I did that for a few years, and then I kind of I don't know, did teenage stuff and got out of it. It didn't really do much. And when I graduated high school, I decided I should have a hobby. And
Yep.
I knew, that I still had an interest in reptiles and everything like that. And I had never bred them. I just kept them as pets.
Mm-hmm.
And so my goal when I was getting back into it was I wanted to breed them, and I wanted to leave my mark on the hobby. And so I did some research, and I discovered Amazon tree boas, and it took off from there. So
Heck yeah, man. Was there a specific image or anything of an Amazon tree boa that made you be like, that's it right there?
yeah, I mean, I've probably said this before, but it was like a Halloween,
Oh, hell yeah.
a neonate Halloween Amazon tree boa, and it was
Yeah.
from some I think it was just like a reptile supplier, chain. So it was probably just like a generic photo. It wasn't like a photo of the animal.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, holy S, what is that? I
Yeah.
didn't even know snakes could look like that, and
Right.
yeah, I got one. And yeah.
Hell yeah.
And you were
dude.
talking about Kingsnake.
Yep.
When I shortly after getting my first Amazon, I kind of found Kingsnake, and they had different forums on there. So they had a tree boa forum, and that was when I kind of found Matt Lear or Layer.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He was GHI, the GHI
Yeah.
Reptiles, but he was mostly a tree boa guy back then.
Right.
And he had those crazy calico Amazons, and that also blew my mind. I couldn't afford them at the time.
You're right. Right.
And there were only a few people that had animals that weren't imports,
Right.
and so they had huge waiting lists. Everything was sold before they even posted it.
Right.
And everything was done by email back. Like I couldn't like instant message him. It was like I had to email to respond to the, ad or any post that he had. It was like by email. And
Right.
if there wasn't a waiting list for, 6 months or whatever, then you'd have to see like where in the wait line your email was received. So
Yeah, exactly.
it might have been sold, So.
Right. Yeah. It's intense when your email list is your wait list.
Yeah.
Just leave you unread until I finally can get to you.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was hours or days that they would respond back in, not like instantly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Keepers of today have it so much easier.
I've seen some really old guys, like post their flyers that they would like send out in the mail of their availability. No pictures or anything. It would just tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
that's even the older school.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think I saw Tom Crutchfield post one of those recently, and then in another conversation, was somebody was talking about, I reached out to Tom Crutchfield about, he had these reticks in, and we want to get these reticks, and there was no size description. So they got this retic in, and it was 14 feet. Just like, oh, we're not ready, man. We're not ready at all.
It's like they come in there's a wide range of sizes for retics there. You got to be careful.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh,
no
maybe,
description.
Yeah, maybe tell people what size it is. But where's the fun in that, man? Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. You got to be prepared for it all.
Right. Oh, man. I love that though, dude. So when you started your Amazon journey, that first one that you got in, was that just a garden or Halloween type animal, or was that something else?
Yeah. No, that's what it was.
Cool.
And like I didn't have a ton of, I was young, so like I had, spotty employment, and it was probably like part-time employment or it wasn't very stable, so like I'd have a job and then I wouldn't have a job or whatever, so like I didn't grow my collection super fast, and I was living with my parents in my bedroom, and I had some Amazon tree boas in there, so just in the bedroom.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I think to touch back on like the Halloween stuff, like I equate neonate Halloweens to like pied ball pythons. It's such a striking thing that when you see for the first time, you're like, oh, like I really do need that, because that's crazy. And then you're mildly disappointed as the orange fades away. But
it would be cool if that didn't happen. I'm not. I mean, like, they're still cool, but
absolutely,
like, it would be cool if they still looked like what they look like as neonates,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But hey, you know what? I'm all for being able to capture somebody's attention and at least get them to talk about the species and learn about the species. If that's what it takes, is something eye-catching like that, you'll learn about disappointment later. Let's talk about how cool these snakes are.
Yeah, and like, they're related to emerald tree boas, and like as a kid, an emerald tree boa was like the holy grail, like it was like, you got, if you have an emerald tree boa, you're like a fucking expert,
Right.
Like to keep that thing alive, you're top tier,
Yeah, exactly.
So like that kind of like intimidated me away from like emerald tree boas, I was like, I don't want to deal with any of that stuff.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah,
I don't know. It's come a long way. So I mean, like emerald tree boas, they're pretty similar in care as Amazon tree boas.
Right. Yeah, there's always that. Well, I shouldn't say always, because there's people that have figured it out, but that regurgitation syndrome in those emeralds is still such a prevalent thing. And like it blows my mind all the time to think about it. Like we see a lot of northern imports come in year after year after year after year, but there's still only a select few people that are, consistently successful in reproduction that really have it dialed in. And I'm like, man, these guys got to write a book, man, because we're not doing the species any justice really when it comes to that. But that's definitely a high point for the Amazons, is that issue is certainly far less frequent, although it of course can still happen, but nowhere near on the same level.
Yeah, I think like, I don't have a ton of experience with this because most of the animals I've had over the years have been captive born and bred. But I've had some wild caught animals here and there, and the difference, to me, in my opinion, is very noticeable.
Absolutely.
So I think part of, I mean, like, the regurgitation or the problem establishing emerald tree boas is that so many of the ones you see for sale are imports, and that's just, you're bringing in an adult animal that's been in suboptimal conditions for who knows how long in the process, and like, that doesn't set you up for success. I think it's
Right.
far harder to establish wild caught animals than it is to just raise captive born and bred animals.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And having seen both imports and captive bred on the emeralds and the Amazons, like 100% a difference. Like it's, you can see it, and then if you're able to get your hands on the animals, it is 100% like a night and day difference between them, and it's really interesting to see. But yeah, I agree 100%. Getting a captive bred animal is regardless of species, really, is just the better way to go, to not have to deal with all of that underlying stress that animal's gone through for, as you said, like, you don't know how long until it finally ended up in your care. So yeah, I'm with you on that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think imported animals are necessary for like certain things, like,
Right.
I think it's very important, like, a lot of the rarer species, or like animals that don't have like a fully established captive population because of like, either like the perceived value of the animal, so they're not very valuable, and people
Right.
just buy imports over and over, like, they don't like take the time to establish a captive population, like, based on the value, or the like really rare animals that don't come in very often, and all the animals we have in captivity are basically wild caught animals, so like, there isn't a stable population. Like,
Right.
it is important to have those people that put in the time and effort and figure the stuff out so we can get that established.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And that's, yeah, that really is where it's like, okay, we got to find the person that just falls in love with the species. It's like, I don't, trial and error, I don't care, I'm going to figure this out, and then we're going to be good to go. And that's definitely when you see that change. But yeah, I agree. It's the necessary evil to get a lot of this stuff established in captivity. But once you get that person that's locked into it, it's like, okay, cool. We're in good hands.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. So take me further on your journey with the Amazon. So you get that garden Halloween animal. What was next? Was it saving up for a calico from Matt, or was it going in a different direction?
I didn't end up getting a calico from Matt until uh until he got out of doing Amazon.
Sometimes it works that way, man.
And like, even that was like, that's a bit of a story too, because like,
Yeah.
it was like an animal that I had dreamed of for so long, and when I got
Yeah.
it was an older, multiple time proven female,
Okay.
and
Yep.
I mean, it was older, and like,
Yeah.
you could tell it looked older. It hadn't like fully put on its weight back from like the last time it had given birth. It had a
Right.
huge head, but it was very kind of, lean.
Yep.
And so, and that was like multiple years after, I had been in conversation with him via email, or like his line was called Red Hots.
Yes. Yep. I remember that.
And they kind of went through like a different color change than a lot of the calicos that we see now from like Rory, where they retain their white pattern a lot, like the ones from Rory do. But these other ones, these calico Red Hots, sorry, they started out like very boldly patterned with the white, and then as they matured, they were very just like speckled black and red. So they lost like almost all that initial pattern that they had as neonates. But yeah, so I emailed him when he was selling his collection finally. And then like, hey, I've been trying to get these from you.
Right.
We haven't touched. It's not all entirely his fault. Like we haven't connected. I think there were times that like, I even got like forgot on his wait list. And so I didn't end up with one. And he recognized me and was like, you know what? I know you've been talking to me for years and trying to get one of these, so I'm going to do you a solid and sell you this female, even though like someone had contacted about it prior to me.
Oh man, yeah.
And so I got the female, which was cool, and he even threw in a tiger, like a subadult tiger male that like I didn't even know about until he was shipping. He was like, "Hey, I threw in a extra surprise for you." I was like,
hell
all right,
yeah,
nice. Yeah. And like tigers weren't cheap either at that point in time.
Right.
And so like that was kind of a big deal. And yeah, I got her established in my collection for several years. And I attempted to breed her to a tiger. And it didn't like go perfectly, like she ovulated, but it wasn't like, oh, that's like a super great ovulation or
right.
like super textbook, and after a period of gestation, she gave me 2 babies. One was really screaming calico, and then one was we know now is probably a garden calico. It was one of those red lavender gardens.
Right.
And the calico baby had a swollen eye, like from birth.
Oh man.
I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but it had like fluid like underneath the skin of the eye. So it was like bulging out.
Yeah.
But you could like see the eye and the pupil and everything. It's like it happens at some kind of infection, and it leads to like fluid buildup in the eye. And
like a blockage in that tear duct or whatever.
I'm not sure if it's related to that. It's like it doesn't necessarily have to be an infection in the eye. It's like it could have an infection somewhere in its body, and then
and that's just where it shows.
Yeah. And so I talked to a buddy of mine, and maybe a vet too, but they suggested like I drain it. And so I got a very small like diabetic needle.
Yeah. Come on, worm.
Yeah.
Time to go.
And so I drained the eye, but like it would continue to fill up. The animal never established, and actually both of the babies ended up dying.
Oh man.
So sadly, that is a line I was not able to keep going.
Right.
The female never took again, and ended up dying sometime down the road.
Right.
So it's unfortunate, but there are a few projects that have slipped through the cracks. I've heard about some albinos from older
Yep.
people, like of pictures floating around. I've never seen a picture of. Well, that's not true. I saw a picture of. It wasn't like confirmed to be an albino, but Gulf Coast Reptiles ended up getting in what looked like a T positive albino Amazon tree boa.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and they were asking quite a bit of money for it for a while.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, like, their Lucy's were going, or they were asking like 20,000 or something like that originally.
Right.
Which, I mean, I know ball python people do it, but
yep.
I can't do that.
Man, yeah, I feel that. Coming from the ball python world, I've experienced dropping that amount of money, and I've also experienced losing that amount of money because an animal just gets sick or doesn't thrive, and you're just like, cool, I'm gonna go sit in silence and reconsider my entire life. So to do that with a tree boa is definitely a little more next level. Like, let's sit and have a conversation with myself,
Yeah. I mean, the like balls on some people, like, because like that's a huge gamble. I know ball pythons now are relatively like domesticated,
Right.
but they weren't initially. Like they used to be a hard to figure out species,
Right.
and people are still spending on wild caught or animals that are in like Africa or whatever. Maybe not wild caught in Africa, but like produced in a farm in Africa. And to be like, yeah, here's 100 G's or whatever, mail it to me. Oh, I can't do that.
No thanks. I've had plenty of conversations with some of the old school ball python guys and hearing how it's like, we're risking it all, man. We're taking a second mortgage out on the house to be able to afford this. And I'm just like, God, what if it dies, man? Like,
it's a living animal.
Dude. Yeah, I'm just like, I get it. No risk, no reward, but holy crap, man. I mean, you just think about like, I think about somebody like Brian Sharp, with the getting the first pied in, and then it dies, and then you're like, well, what are the chances that we find another one? And then it happens, but then he can't breed it, and it ends up with Pete Call, and Pete Call's able to breed it, and you're just like, oh man, it's like that kind of stuff, man. I can't even. It doesn't compute, like, especially when it's like an unproven genetic thing, where it's like, now we've seen it enough. Something like piebaldism, we know that it typically ends up being a genetic mutation. We've seen it happen across so many different species now. But back then, God, like,
and like you don't really know, like if it's going to pop up again, right? So
right.
to lose something like that, it might end up being lost. Like there have been things that have been lost,
right,
unfortunately. But
yeah,
I mean, obviously, it was worth it to some of those people. Like they made a ton of money on it. So
right, exactly,
it paid off. But I, like to fail on that. I've had some failures, but I can't imagine that one,
Yeah, dude, tell me about it, man. I think back to like there's a couple of different ball python situations, but two always stick out to me. One with Brian Barczyk with the Viper ball that was, really bizarrely patterned ball python that I don't remember how much he spent on. I think it was like 50 or 75,000. And it was a fluke. It was just a random one-off phenotype that never proved out. And I'm like, oh my God, man, like what? Like that's just And then I think about Kevin at Nerd with the cryptic ball python that he thought dead set, this is going to be codom or incomplete dominant. It's so drastically different. It's going to be codom. Breeds it. Everything is normal. And he's like, well, this is, it's a one-off. Years down the road, figuring out, oh, it was recessive and I should have held on to it longer. But he had dumped everything to the bells. And then it wasn't until I was working at Nerd that we found out that it was allelic to clown. And we're like, hey, man, I will never forget going down to the first floor to be like, hey, do you remember the cryptic gene? There was such a great time in your life. Well, here's one other chapter. And I was like, it's allelic to clown. And he looked me dead in the face and he's like, there's no fucking way. And I was like, video proof, dude. It's here. It's a thing. And I will never forget going through racks trying to find any potential remnant lineage from those animals. And we found a couple and we're able to make Krypton things and whatever. But it's crazy that some of those gambles are still, somewhat paying off, all these years later, but to make that initial 5-figure, we're not 10 grand. We're talking encroaching on 6-figure numbers. It's just wild.
If I was a very wealthy person, then maybe I could see that, but like, even just being like, even just having like 80 grand in the bank, like I still don't think I make that call to be like, yeah, I'm going to spend that all on a snake,
Not at all, dude. Not at all.
Like,
no,
I don't think I could do that.
I'm paying off the house, man. I want to be in a space where, like, if I get this opportunity at any other point in time, I want there to be no worries, no concerns about anything else in life, to where that can be a conscious decision that I'm not going to jump off the roof about later.
I think you also, like, you add that anxiety to your hobby, So,
Right.
like, this is something that brings you enjoyment. But if you've just invested $80,000 and that's like, that's how you make your money, or that's all the money that you have.
Right.
Now it's like, oh shit, I gotta make some return on this, or like, this has to be successful, or like,
absolutely, man.
I'm just starting from scratch,
Right. Yeah, dude, what a wild train. I'm very thankful that the barrier for entry on Amazon's, even at their, really highest end stuff, is a good chunk away from the 5-figure sector for the most part. So
yeah,
it's a little easier to swallow those pills.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wild.
I think still the most I've spent on an Amazon. Yeah. The most I've spent on an Amazon was like the original 2 tigers that I got from Danny Mendez.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on like a 6-month payment plan with
yes.
And like they were like orders of magnitude more expensive than my car at the time.
Jeez.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yep. Man, the things we do for these animals, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. What were those 2 tigers? Were they just like yellow tigers, bicolor tigers?
Yeah, they were both like what you would call a bicolor,
Yeah.
They colored up a lot. Like they were like reddish orange, but they had the yellow stripes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yep.
I do.
But that was when, like, you know, Danny Mendez was the only, well, I guess GHI, so Matt Lear and Danny Mendez, like they were pretty much the only two people that had tigers. And in
Right.
my opinion, you know, Matt had like the you know, black striped tigers, like but Danny had started to like selectively breed his to be do you remember like Six Sorbet?
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
it was in like a reptiles article, like a reptiles
Yeah.
magazine article.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. It was a super bright, like, you know, reddish orange animal with yellow stripes, just like unbelievable color. And so, like, the animals that I had gotten from him were, you know, of that lineage, like related to that animal.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So that was like cream of the crop back then, you know, at the
Right.
time.
Right. Yeah, man. That's damn. Yeah. I remember the first time I saw that picture and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
man. Yep. I will never forget the first time I got Amazons. I was in my early teens. I was maybe 14 or something. And I was volunteering at the local pet shop, and they let me look at the wholesale list for the reptile department before they placed an order. I was like, oh, Amazon tree boa. That sounds, that sounds kind of cool. I think I've seen some
Exotic.
cool pictures of those. Yeah, I was like, this will be cool. So I was like, yeah, I'll get 2 of those, and whatever. I had to pay like 10% more than what we were paying for them, whatever. So the store could make money. Fine. And in my mind's eye, I was already like, they're gonna be yellow, they're gonna be this. It was like a pair of gardens that came in, just wanted to murder everything in front of them. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And I will never forget my mom, like, what, why
Why
out
do
of
we have these?
everything you have, why this? Like, it's gray, it wants to kill you every single moment of every day. I just don't get it. And I'm like, I don't either, as blood's dripping from every every bite possible. Oh man. But yeah, that was, I think for me, the draw was, it was just something new. It was a challenge. And then when I got back into it, it was like, okay, I've got enough experience with snakes under my belt where I can actually do something here, versus, I clean them and get bit all the time.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that original pair, we named them Frick and Frack, because it was no good. None of it was ever good.
That's funny.
Oh man.
I
But
tried hard as a young person, a
mhm.
teenager and young adult, to get a job at a pet store so I could be like, you know, I don't know, like I've got enough basic knowledge to like take care of reptiles and stuff like that. And you know, I've
Right.
kept enough different animals to like have that down.
Mhm.
But I was never hired at I'm even like known by the local reptile like store owners to like go to like reptile shows since I was a kid, you know, and like never got a job.
Oh man.
Never got a job at a reptile store. I wanted to have, you know, because like you were saying, like you know, they do sometimes bring in wholesale animals, and like they've got the hookup.
Yeah.
And this was, you know, in the email days, you know, so like you can
Right.
get in on the
Yeah.
fresh imported stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you can send that. Please send the wholesale list to me. I don't
Yeah,
I don't know what conflict of interest is just yet in my life. So
yeah, but it never worked out for me.
oh man. It's a double-edged sword. Like, I'm thankful I had the opportunity, but at the same time, that's probably why I had over 100 reptiles in my parents' spare bedroom.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
So you know, I was saying I started keeping Amazons with while I was living in my parents' house in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And pretty early on, I I don't know why, because like I still kind of don't know, like it's different when you have a reptile room, right?
Mhm.
And you like acquire a reptile because you kind of I have like an ambient temperature to my room, and like
Right.
because of different things like that, like cages and heating elements, like I also heat my room, but like even just having like a wall of cages with heating elements, it ups like the ambient temperature and stuff like that. And
Right.
because you have multiple animals, you have like empty rack spaces in racks for like different tubs and stuff like that. And so it's easier to just like if you're going to pick up an animal, like, oh, I have an empty rack space, I can put it in
Yes.
that rack, or I have a rack that I stopped using, and I can hook it up in the other room in quarantine in there, and I can just slide something in a rack.
Yep.
But like if someone is like, hey, I want to buy a baby Amazon tree boa or a baby boa constrictor or whatever, and it's like it's my only pet, I'm like, like that's kind of hard to set up. Like, what are you
Yes.
you have one reptile and it's a baby too, and like how do you set up a baby Amazon tree boa as the only reptile in a room, like
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult. Whereas like if you have a reptile room, you slide it in a tub in a rack. It's
Yep.
very
And you're good to
simple.
go. Yeah. No,
Um,
100%.
yeah, because like setting up a cage, but then like, is the cage big enough where you can actually like heat it up to the proper temperature in a room that isn't heated? Like that's
Right.
kind of difficult to do.
Right.
And if you are able to do it, do they have a heat gradient or are they just being cooked, at like the hottest temperature you can get the cage to?
Right.
Um, like it's a lot trickier.
Yeah.
Hang on just a sec. My dog opened up the door. Come here.
Yeah. No worries.
Come here. Come here.
No, that's such a valid point that like Rob and I have said multiple times on different episodes. Like it's one of the things that makes it challenging when people ask you, well, like what's the best substrate or what's the best for this or what's the best for that, and it's like, well, what's the concept here? Is this your one pet?
Right.
And where is it? On the second floor of your house? Is it on the first floor of your house? Because heat rises, so your second floor might be 5 degrees warmer. Like, do you keep your house hot or cold, more so than the average person? All these, and then where you live in the country, are you getting snowmageddon or are you in Southern California where it's always damn near the same 10 within 10 degrees? Like all of those
Also,
things
like
play a difference.
if you're like if you're like heating up a cage in a like a room temperature room, um, a lot of like if you're getting a baby animal, babies usually like concealed small hidden spaces,
Right.
because they're on the menu for pretty much anything, and so like can you like what are you going to set it up in like a 10-gallon aquarium, but then like I don't think you're going to be able to heat it up, like, or you're going
No,
to
it's true.
it's going to be one really hot temperature.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And all the meanwhile, while we're trying to make these efforts to assist somebody in developing, there's on the back end, people are yelling about how terrible racks are, and if anybody who uses a rack system needs to go to hell and should only use cages that are gigantic and blah blah blah. And it's like, man, that I get it. I get it. I wish I could live in a mansion too, but everything has a purpose if used correctly. So,
Yeah. No, I agree, and like my philosophy with like basically for keeping Amazon tree boas is like I can tell you a whole lot of ways to like keep them properly, like
mhm,
there's no one correct way that will work for everyone. Um,
right.
and it depends where you're at in the world or the country. Um, it depends on your setup, your personal setup. Uh,
Right.
I personally like a very sterile looking environment. So like paper towels are my favorite substrate.
Mhm.
But I have been dealing with something like I have been trying too hard these past years to make paper towels work in the winter time here. Because
Right.
my humidity, it's not the worst. But like I run a humidifier in the room.
Mhm.
And even that, like, if I run it like all day long, it'll bump the like ambient humidity to like 70.
Mhm.
But if I just run it for like a few hours, it starts in the 20s or 30s, ambient humidity, and then it, bumps it up to like 50 or something like that.
Right.
But it doesn't last very long because I've got, heaters keeping the temperature up in my room.
Right.
So the paper towels, I've struggled to keep humidity up. And there was a point where like I would go around with a hand misting bottle and mist every single enclosure, and I would
Yes.
spend like 30 minutes a night, all right, got to go mist everything.
Yeah.
I get cramps in my forearms, go mist
Right.
the other. Uh, I know there are different methods now, like you can get automatic spray bottles and you can get like
Right.
those like pump ones, that
Yep.
that have like a big reservoir. But you still got to go in each individual cage and set it, mist. And
Right.
what's funny is like, so I've kept other arboreal species, like I've kept other Corallus,
Mhm.
Ruschenbergeri, emerald tree boas. I kept green tree pythons. Like I had a rather large collection of green tree pythons for a while.
Mhm.
Um, and all of those seem to require like less humidity or hydration to shed properly. Uh, where like I would still have issues. I would have no issues with my chondros or my emerald tree boas or anything like that, but I would have issues with my Amazon tree boas.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
and
the most
so,
unforgiving stuck shed.
and it's attached to an asshole, so like
Exactly.
it really like stuck sheds are terrible things,
Yes.
and usually like if you can, like, you should be solving for the overall problem, right? Like if you're having multiple stuck sheds or animals with constant stuck sheds, like you have to address the issue because there's something wrong with the husbandry, right? Like the animal should
Right.
be shedding. But even like soaking an animal, you know after it has a stuck shed doesn't guarantee that you're going to get that off. uh,
Whew.
like it's important to get it off like the sensitive bits, like eyes and face, and like the
Right.
tip of the tail and stuff like that.
Right.
um, but if you can kind of clear those areas, I typically will wait for another shed and be like, all right, like this animal, it's got some stuck shed, but like uh I'll be on it next time, like maybe make a note.
Yep.
And when it goes into its shed cycle, I'll keep, I'll soak it down. I'll soak down the cage. I'll keep it going, and that'll usually, they'll clear off the old shed with the new one,
With the new. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a good piece.
Yep. Dude, I'm the same way. When I first took the dive back in and had the humidity issues, I was like, oh man, I gotta soak it. Like these stuck sheds are terrible. And then you're getting annihilated when you're trying to assist getting the shed off, and it's like this is not worth it, man.
Yeah.
Like, damn. So yeah, I'm like, okay, is the head clear, tip of the tail, all that stuff. And I'm like, cool. You're gonna get one extra little meal this week to get you into another shed so that we can get you out of here, man.
Yeah. It's not power feeding if it's just for a shed cycle, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just this one extra feeding, man. I just
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
get it over there, man. Yeah. Man. you know, it's interesting. So I've kept Amazons in a bunch of different ways as well, with a bunch of different beddings and stuff. And even with like cocoa husk beddings and stuff, if you're not on top of the moisture content of that bedding, you'll still end up with dry sheds and stuff. And it took me a while now with getting mist systems and everything dialed in to still be like, okay, what's the appropriate amount of misting? How long? Is it every other day? Is it every day? Is it every 2 days? And trying to dial that in. And I, for the first couple of months, I was still battling the occasional dry sheds here and there. And I'm like, I got sprayers on sprayers on sprayers. You assholes still want me dead. Like,
Yeah, one of the so like I do think having a misting system would be nice, and that's something that I would like to have here in the pretty like near future. But one of the things is, because I have kept them in such a wide variety of cages, like I still have, you know, like 4 different kinds of cages in my room, and that's not like very conducive to a misting system, you know, where you have the pump and then you have all the nozzles and cords and everything like that going all over the place. So I do want to I have been aiming to have like a more consolidated like version of a cage, and then I want to hook up misting nozzles to each of them. Another thing I've done in the past, and I've started back with it again, kind of inspired by Vincent.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. So you mentioned cocoa husk or whatever, and I always preferred like cypress mulch to. I know cypress was around prior to like the cocoa thing becoming a big deal, but I've tried both, and I prefer the cypress. Like, it's got a nice smell to it, and I don't know, it's got a nice look to me, in my opinion. Like, it's aesthetically pleasing.
For sure.
And so I prefer it to the cocoa fiber or cocoa husk, which I guess are 2 different substrates.
Yeah, but, close enough. All derivative from the same. It's fine.
Anything cocoa.
You're right.
No. But yeah. Anyways, that's like hard to find now. I can't find like cypress mulch in any large quantities, really. Like, it's all Zoomed bags or maybe not Exoterra, just Zoomed. Which really isn't like economical.
Sadly so.
So I do use like the cocoa bark like for my boa constrictors that I have. And I've started, talking with Vincent and everything, I wanted to like up the like biomass in my cages to like I'm thinking of. So like it'll be like a thermal mass, right? So like if you heat up a substrate, right, it'll retain that temperature.
Oh, right. I got you.
You know?
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'll up, like I want to get some plants in there, foliage, like it'll refresh the air, it'll trap the humidity. Like it'll up the air quality and everything like that. So that'll be good. So I kind of worked on a way to, have some live plants in there without the animals just perching on them and smashing them to bits, because Amazon tree boas like to do that.
Yes.
And then I put a layer of like potting soil down for like the mass, like that'll be good at retaining moisture, and it'll help like stabilize the temperature better. And then I covered that with the cocoa chips.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because I animals do grind their face in the dirt and stuff like that. And then, they get it in their lips and their heat pits and stuff like that. And it can cause an issue. It doesn't always, but so that's kind of what I'm working on back here.
Heck yeah,
And
man.
these are a nice stack of cages. They're like 12 by 16 by 24.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, and so like they're pretty compact, but they work pretty good for like juveniles and adults, adult males.
Yep.
Um, and so I've kind of set them up with the live plants, like from a hanging planter.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, it's working good so far. But
Hell yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's the one thing that I've enjoyed the most with the Amazons is doing these little tweaks, right? Like ball pythons are easy. Most of the new US native colubrids are very easy and all that kind of stuff. The Amazons, it's like, okay, there's a lot of different routes I can take with this. Let's try them all. Like but I love the bedding with the plant idea. Um I've done that with my cages, and now I'm trying to bring that model over into the racks because I use the big Cambros, um,
mhm.
26 by 18 by 15 for my adults, and fixturing those with mist systems and lights now has given me the chance to put plants in there.
I have some of
And
those over
hell yeah, dude,
here.
that's it, man.
Yeah,
Um, but getting the mist system in there was game changing because I had, dude, especially the ones that are just above my head, trying to get a spray nozzle in there to do something is miserable, especially if you don't see that snake is actually on top of a hide right outside of your line of sight, but right in strike
right.
distance to that hand. um but that was key. And then putting light in, just like those really bright LED tape lights that you would like put up along the molding of the room or whatever. Um, you can get them at 6500K, which is damn near close to sunlight levels, and put something like a pothos in there that doesn't need the most amazing light in the world. And it will still grow. And I'm like, okay, this works. I can kind of bring this into rack life, and we're doing all right. Um, but yeah, I like just being able to tinker, and have a species that can also tolerate a little bit of that, some of the trial and error, and they're not just going to keel over because you use something that wasn't quite right for that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I have used everything. Like I've bred it. I started breeding them in Exoterra.
Yeah.
Tall cages. And I think I started out. I did have some, kind of substrate in there with some plants and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sort of evolved. And I think kind of in my like green tree python keeping days, to the like more sterile setup with like the
Right.
artificial perches, everything's cleanable. Like I've got artificial plants,
Yep.
paper towel substrate. I really, like it's like those vivariums, where people have like a whole like ecological system set up. Like I think that's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
I don't have like I don't know. I don't have the capacity to be like a whole uh ecosystem like curator, really.
Yeah.
I
I
kill plants.
understand. I
Uh
understand so much. Yes.
yeah. But like that looks super awesome. And like for some of my animals, maybe that would be viable to do. Like I really like that, or
Right.
like to have like a nice display out in my house,
Mm-hmm.
of some animals, and maybe even like rotate the animals out there or something like that. I think that
Right.
would be cool. But when you like have a large number of animals, I think it becomes harder or less viable of an option. Um,
Absolutely.
but you still need to make sure that your animals' needs are being met. Um,
Right.
I've I've switched my setups so many times that like it's probably been detrimental at some point.
Right.
I'm pretty.
Right.
I'm, again, I'm still switching stuff up, but I'm pretty on top of things now.
Right.
But I used to, anytime I saw something cool, I was like, oh, I want to incorporate that idea.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
That's
I want to do
funny.
that. Or like, then I would see like a whole new way to do it, and I was like, shit, I got to change everything. That's the way.
Exactly.
But then you don't like, your animals are like, what the hell is going on here? You know?
Yeah.
So
I had
you
to,
don't want
I
to
had
be
to,
too over the top with it, but
right, exactly. I started to equate it to like, I hate moving.
yeah,
My snakes must really hate moving. Like,
yeah, yeah.
oh man.
But there are things that, like, you know, you don't, I don't know, that you don't really know necessarily, like, going into something. So like, I was having you know, humidity issues uh in a room right across the hallway. um
Mhm.
and I think part of that was there was carpet in the room, and
Mm.
I think this room with the wood flooring, uh it's much more humid in here, like just naturally, like, and
Yeah.
it's more like, I don't know, like the carpet is like sucking the moisture out of the air.
Right.
um and also, like, there was a period of time where like potty pads were kind of a big thing,
Yes.
and I was like, hey, this is kind of a cool idea. And I was using like potty pad substrates, but like those, I'm now convinced they don't allow for humidity to, like it doesn't allow for the water that's trapped in there to evaporate, because
Right.
it's absorbed into some kind of like crystalline gel. Like, it doesn't then re-evaporate. Like, that's the whole purpose of a diaper, basically, right? Like, it absorbs the moisture and it doesn't let it back out again. That's how it, like, keeps your skin
Right.
healthy.
Yeah.
So like,
Yep.
I think that was messing up my humidity there for a while. When I thought like, hey, this might be a good thing for humidity.
Yeah.
But you live and learn.
That's exactly it, man. You've got to try it. You've got to try it, or else you'll never know.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the marble project, man. What is happening in the land of marble right now?
All right. I have a couple females from my original, was it the original pairing? It was the first pairing I did from
Mhm.
the marble that was imported. And we have one animal that is maybe, we're not entirely sure if it's a marble.
Mhm.
It's sort of had some of the characteristics of a marble uh, when it was born, and then it sort of matured, looking more like a marble, but not fully. Like, I would say, yeah, that's a marble, right?
Got you.
And then another animal that was the first marble that we produced.
Mhm.
And so I think we'll have a pretty good grasp on how it's inherited, um, and sort of what's going on with it, with those two pairings.
Heck yeah.
Sort of by accident, last year, um, we I did the original marble female to a liger male, um, and that really, like, I like I so I have like a partner who helped me import the animals. So like, it's
Mhm.
sort of a joint project.
Yeah.
Um, so I spoke with him about doing that pairing.
Mhm.
And that, you know, it was on the up and up or whatever. But like, I really didn't have a whole lot of thought behind that. Like, I was like, hey, you know, het leopards have funky patterns. Like, that's cool.
Right.
And even the animals from the marble litter that aren't marbles, they've got funky patterns.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna throw both of these together. And I'm probably gonna get all, you know, relatively normal looking animals, but they're gonna be funky looking.
Right.
You know, and then, hey, they're het for leopard too. So that was it. But I ended up, getting several visual marbles with another gene in there as well.
Yeah.
Which, like, super cool combination.
Dude.
It worked out very nice. So that happened, and that was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll go a little bit into like the history of the pairings that I've done.
Yeah.
And talk about that because, like, the first time we paired up an animal, it was the only marble that made it that we had visual in the project. Let me think. It was the only one that ended up surviving, actually, from like the group that we imported.
Oh, jeez.
So originally we bought a whole. The plan was to buy the whole litter of these marble animals, and some were going to be marbles, some were going to be siblings, but we were going to buy the whole litter, and so we did. We bought the whole litter, and then there was a rack malfunction.
Ooh.
And before they were even shipped to the person that was shipping them into the country,
man,
we lost like half of them. And yeah. And so in order to make up for that, the guy was like, "Hey, I've got like a subadult male. I'll give you, like, we'll throw that in." And so we were like, okay, cool. We'll work with that. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, then it takes like a year to like even get the animals into the country and get them. And we end up
paperwork and red tape.
Yeah. So the guy who was exporting them to us, he ended up losing a couple animals like in his care. Like they like regurgitated. Then just like went downhill and they didn't make it. So we got like one normal from the litter, one marble from the litter, and then the subadult male, which we probed, and it was a female. So it was a small female.
Yeah.
So we had to wait. We had to grow that one up, and the other visual baby ended up dying in our care. So we had the just the lone adult animal that we got, which was a female, and we have nothing to pair it to that, like, we're expecting to produce marbles. Like we have nothing related to it or anything like that. So we don't know. I think originally the guy was saying it was some form of dominant gene. So we could produce some visuals, regardless of what we pair it with. And if we don't, we wanted to like up the value of the animal. So I think at the time we ended up pairing it to a calico. So we paired the original female to a calico, and the results were we got one visual, like very obvious marble, and then two animals that were questionable. We weren't sure what they are. They're maybe low expression, maybe not marbles. Maybe it's like multiple genes, which is it still might be multiple genes. That's still a possibility. And so we didn't have very many animals. And then the second time we did a repeat pairing and we didn't produce any visual marbles. So like the first pairing producing one, we thought, okay, like that's bad odds, but it's still like some form of dominant. We paired it to an unrelated animal.
And you got a visual. Right.
Then the second time we don't produce any, and we're like, that's very bad odds. We've now produced it was like 16 or 17 babies, and we have one visual. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, right.
And
Sheesh.
so this was the third pairing that we did with the Liger, and we got 4 visual tigers. Like,
Damn.
so 4, like, even better than the first marble that we produced.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all tigers. I would have liked some just like plain marbles as well, but I'm not going to complain.
Right.
You know, we've got
Yeah.
now multiple visual animals. So I think the next like pairing that, well, we have a maybe marble to calico tiger. We want to see if we do actually produce any marbles with that. I'm kind of leaning towards no, but we'll see. We still have to do like a marble to a marble,
right,
to kind of lay down what's going on here.
Right.
I think there might be like a garden gene involved, which is why, you know, when you pair the leopard to the marble, you've got, you know, so many visuals when the other 2 pairings you didn't.
Right.
So I think that might be a factor.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's interesting too, like because those babies were red, like,
yes.
and that color seemed to be fairly maintained in some of the recent pictures that you've posted of them. Like, they obviously not as insane red, but like that red is still definitely carrying through quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. They're still pretty red. It does seem to fade a bit, but like along the lines that like I don't know, a typical kind of calico would fade.
Right.
You know, like even the calico stuff, the red usually doesn't stay as intense. Your exceptional specimens do, or
Right.
you know, but like I would say the majority of them sort of become more like maroon color.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that seems kind of typical across the spectrum with Amazons. Like, you know, like we were just talking about the Halloweens earlier, you know, and then
Right.
with calico, the marble thing. Maybe I'll get one out here and we can show it to the.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That'd be
camera.
cool.
Yeah. Where? Well, all right, that's good enough. So now, if you can see that.
Damn. Dude, that thing's freaking wild looking.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's very like marbly.
Yeah, dude, that's so freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. So very excited about that project, and it's taken a positive turn. But man,
Right.
like the amount of time getting these things established, you know, like
Right.
getting a project established, and like I don't know, you know, I was talking with a buddy of mine just earlier today
Mhm.
where, he was asking me, like, how long have leopards been around? The Amazon tree, but I was like, man, like
Yeah.
40 years now. Or like 30 something years, right?
Yeah.
and he was asking, he's like, what's the value on, you know, a leopard, like currently, like what's like a going rate? And I told him, and he's like, that's like insane that Amazons have like, it's not like there are price fluctuations with Amazons, and tigers aren't
Of
worth
course.
what they used to be, um,
Right.
but like the amount of time that tigers held on to like the premium price range, and like leopards are still going for 30 years into the hobby.
Right.
uh, it seems like just Amazons are slow rolled, basically, like
Yeah.
they're moving in slow motion. The projects take really long to figure out how it's inherited. There are like
Right.
so many genes at play that you have to like weed through all of that. You have to isolate the genes because
Right.
they're all tangled in there. um and so like it just takes a lot longer, but I mean it's not bad that they hold their value compared to other species where like with the ball python, if you have like a new gene, it seems to be like it's like a single gene usually that's involved, like you just add that
Right.
gene in, and
Yep. And that's it.
like that gene is already isolated.
Right.
It's very simple to test breed for that, and then how it's inherited, and then you go to work mixing it
Right.
in with the other genes that are now in the pool.
Right. No, 100%. And especially in the world of ball pythons, like they can take a bit more of the, I mean, we'll just call it the unethical cycle. Like if I want to feed my ball python 4 days a week, for the most part, it can pretty much handle it. Which I mean, like I pick on ball python folks all the time because I've kept and bred ball pythons for the majority of my career, and now I keep the couple of projects that I enjoy. I've got no skin in the game, so I talk my crap. But like there are guys that are like, oh yeah, I just hatched this screaming male, is like 1 in 1,054 odds to hit, and I need it to breed this fall, and I'm gonna feed it, a mouse every freaking day, until it's ready to breed. And I'm just like, dude, for what? You can't wait a year? Like it's already that astronomical to hit, but amazingly the ball pythons are can take it. And like I joke because I'm like, ball pythons are the only species that I've seen where the age requirement for breeding has decreased, but the weight requirement has increased. That makes no sense to me. Back in the
They're
day,
hitting them both, younger and bigger at the same
yeah,
time.
I'm just like, wait, what the heck? I'm like, man, back in the day, it was 2.5, 3 years old for your females and 1,200 grams. If you could get them to 15, that's ideal, but 1,200, that's your minimum. Now it's like 18 months and 1,800 grams.
Yeah, and like,
And I'm
I
like,
mean, they are completely domesticated. Like that's what they've been
right.
selectively bred to do is grow fast and reproduce, and like
Yep,
that's what they've been bred to do. And, like you don't
that's
even
it.
need to cycle them now, right? Like
Exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
they are made to reproduce in captivity.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is
but
wild when you think about their origin story and how much of a struggle it was to get them established in the first place.
there are certainly, and like it is prevalent with the ball python, and like uh I don't know, like I know people that breed ball pythons, uh like it's just part of their collection, not like they
Right.
are ball python breeders. That is their business, I don't know
Right.
any of those guys. Nothing against them or anything like that. Like I don't know.
Right.
But from my friends who are in other aspects of the hobby that keep more diverse collections, or they keep other species. I have learned slowly, and I'm not great at it, because like I'm not the best. I don't have like the best business like acumen, and I didn't come in. I didn't come into it with like business in mind. Like it would be, honestly, like if you could make a business, if you can make a living out of your hobby or your passion, like that's great. That's like the American dream, right?
Right.
Like go for it, and I would love to do that. But that's not why I keep Amazon tree boas.
Right.
If someday that's all I do, fantastic. Like thumbs up to me. I made it.
Right.
But that wasn't like my purpose. So
Mhm.
that being said, people who have more experience in the business side of things, with more with species that are more compatible to business,
Mhm.
I have picked up like certain ways of thinking that I wouldn't naturally think, like business wise, or like, hey, strategy kinds of things,
Right.
which which are kind of important, because like you mentioned, earlier, the nerd guy,
Yep.
um, where like we were talking about, establishing projects and stuff like that, which is part of the battle. But then like there's also managing the project. Like I've mismanaged projects. Like
Right.
that's something that is a different side of the hobby. That's a different skill.
Yeah.
The business
Absolutely.
knowledge and like the strategy, and things like that. That's a different skill, and that's something I've learned from my friends that have more experience in that area with different species, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. Um, it's I think it's helped me. Um,
Yeah.
like there certainly, when business is involved, there can certainly be negative things, but like I think you can take what's good from it, and use that,
Absolutely.
and stick with your like your morality, right? Like just
Yeah.
do good
Just
things.
be a good person.
But,
Yeah.
yes, be a good person.
Exactly.
But like that
Yeah.
doesn't mean like you can be a good person and a business owner, or like
Right.
people do it all the time. So
Yeah.
uh,
No,
I'm
exactly.
not like speaking negatively of the business side of it.
Right. Right. No, it is an interesting space, like coming from that world and then pivoting more towards, more of a niche aspect of business versus, servicing, basically the pet industry, right? Like it's interesting kind of maneuvering through that landscape, because when you service the pet industry, of course you're dealing with a lot of folks that are getting first time reptiles, or maybe they have one or two but they're still very new to the whole concept. So there's a lot more of the customer service element that's involved, and how you maneuver with that is very crucial, because that dictates, of course, how people perceive the business. If something goes wrong, people will write reviews everywhere and blow you up everywhere if something's not handled correctly. And then when you get into more niche things, like at Nerd, obviously selling like ball pythons and simple colubrids like corn snakes or king snakes, you're dealing with a lot more of those entry level keepers that have a lot more questions. But then you get into emerald tree boas, you get into water monitors, you get into higher end investment quality things. And now, yes, customer service is still important, but it's a different kind of conversation. The person
Yeah,
that's coming to drop 10 grand on a water monitor probably has an idea of what they're getting into, you know,
yeah,
um, hopefully, for crying out loud. But, I know for myself, like I keep a pretty diverse collection, because I think it's important to have that element to sort of give back. Like I want to be able to have that person come up that's getting their first pet reptile, whether it be a leopard gecko or a corn snake or a ball python, to have that experience. Let's get you in. Let's make sure you have a great time. But pivoting my primary focus into like tree boa land is a very different subset of conversations with folks. And the interesting thing has been like, most people, at least that I've dealt with, who inquire about Amazons, they're not looking to breed. It's not I want to get this so that I can, take over the world and produce all of the red of reds, that I possibly can. It's like, man, no, I just want a badass looking snake that I can set up in an enclosure and it looks awesome. And I know it's going to bite me, and that's okay because it's beautiful. And typically it's people that have some kind of foundational knowledge of reptiles for the most part. So it's a much easier conversation, and it's exciting to communicate with people that are just like, I just think that's a cool snake, and I want to just enjoy that for what it is. And it's awesome that we have people that are interested in breeding and doing those things too. But the fact that that's not the primary goal, like it is when we see something like the ball python or the crested gecko or something like that, where it's like, I'm going to get this and I'm going to breed it to this because, it only cost me $300 and now I can become a millionaire. Ha 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 ha.
It is a weird, I don't know, like, yes, I agree with you. But it's kind of like weird to like put yourself in that mindset where it's like, yes, this is business. Yeah. I'm investing in this, and I'm going to, in 1 to 2 years, I will be able to make this many litters, and each litter will be roughly worth this much money. And like, that's how I will make my profit or whatever. Like that's my salary, like that's the amount of money that I need to make. It is weird, but if you take certain aspects of it, like some of it, when you get to a certain level or you are a breeder, like you have to take it into consideration, like one of the things that I had never thought of really was like, my buddy's like, you have to have certain litters that you're not making for yourself. Like these are not for you. You are making them so you have them available for the other people, right? And I'm like, what? I'm not just putting two snakes together that I want to put together. And it's like, no, because then you will end up with all snakes you either have to keep, or like you will give away part of that project like you were working on. Like you will put someone at the same level you are, right? Which is like, my brain was like, what?
Yeah. It's true.
So like, and this is like a relatively like sort of recent development, in the past several years, where I'm like, I have to have animals that I can do the projects that I want to further my projects. And that I can keep animals back from without, giving away the game. And I have to have animals available for other people because, like, people ask me like, I am known for producing Amazon tree boas. People ask me all the time for Amazon tree boas. Like, I have to produce animals that I am just producing to sell to other people.
Right.
And like when you lay it out, it's very simple, yes. But like, it was something my brain had not like, hey, this is like how it goes, or this is
how you got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I've got all these snakes. I want to put that one together. I want to go this way with that project. I want to go this way with that project. That's how I'll pair my animals up. But yeah, that leads to problems.
It's true, man. It's true. And yeah, you're right. It is a very different and odd way to think about it. And when you start getting into, the morph space, like that's where so much of this is derivative from, is trying out these new projects and diving into those things. It's a very different space, because fundamentally, as people who just love the animal and enjoy the animal, we just want to make cool animals. Like that's the whole driving factor. So yeah, 100%. I always pick on the ball python guys, and they people, sometimes
It's too
people hate me
easy.
for it, but it right, it is too easy. Yep. But so people like, we've bastardized ball pythons, where, you know, very, very rarely, at least for me, when I'm selling a ball python, am I having a conversation with a customer that's like, I just think this is the coolest snake ever. Like, I just like the way this looks. I just, whatever. The conversation is 90% of the time, 98% of the time, the hell with that. 98% of the time, well, what am I going to get if I breed this? Well, breed it to what? Well, you know, like something like that. And I'm like, there's 500 ball pythons on this table. I need you to give me a little bit more, you know, more information. But like, that's the majority of those ball python questions. And it's like, man, does anybody keep ball pythons just because they like them anymore? Like, just because they're a fun snake? You know, like, again, I have my genetic projects that I work because I think they're cool and it's whatever, but I also don't produce in any substantial number anymore. So it's like, I got stuck, you know, with those in a rack for a year until they finally sold. I'm still okay with that because I enjoyed the animal while I had it, you know, but that can't be the situation when you have an overhead for a facility and staff and this and that. Like, you need to generate that income. So you have to be thinking with that project mindset, and like, okay, well, this one clutch for me, 3 clutches for you, and 1 clutch for me, and 4 clutches for you, you know, like, just to kind of keep that engine going. But, you know, we've made ball pythons that engine, you know, where, you know, what's blasted on social media is, you know, $30,000 snake, or I just made 50 grand selling this animal, you know. And somebody who is none the wiser scrolling through YouTube gets a suggested video that says $50,000 snake. And I would watch that video. With a snake for 50 grand? What? I don't understand.
Yeah.
It must be the rarest snake in some kind of albino. And then you end up going down this rabbit hole and you're like, albinos are $30. Like, what the hell? So how is this $50, you know, $50,000 snake? And you start to see all, you know, all this insanity, and no wonder why people go out and, you know, get a second mortgage on their house, you know, because they're just like, yeah, I can drop 100 grand and make $1 million. And it's like, oh, you have not been told about all of the frustrating things about this business.
Yes. It was
You know.
sort of like I do see like the parallels to like the ball. I mean, it is the biggest portion of like the reptile industry.
Mhm.
You know, like ball pythons, you know, like they've got infinitely more ads than anything else on
Yeah.
any of the websites, you know, like, and I think because the money involved, like it does bring in people that otherwise wouldn't be interested in reptiles. Like it does sort of seem like the stock market of like of the
Yes.
reptile industry, you know, uh,
Yes.
where it's like
Absolutely.
you got to time everything, and it's all very like get buy the dip and sell the high and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, there's it's just a bunch of guys in the middle aisle of Tinley going, buy, 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 sell, 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 buy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the New York Stock Exchange, just in Chicago, in a suburb of Chicago, twice a year.
that's funny.
Oh man. But yeah, no, man, it's kind of sad to think about, to an extent. Like, it's awesome that people have created businesses and you know, can make a living, support their families doing that, for sure.
Yeah.
No way to take anything from that, but it is kind of a bummer that because of that we've lost kind of that fundamental, I just want to have it because I like it, because I just think it's cool, you know. And
Yeah.
I think for me now, at least in ball python land, that's one of the reasons why I like only having a couple of different projects, you know. I said on a podcast recently, like, I'm done chasing the buck, man. I don't want to have to reinvest 10, 20, $30,000 a year into the next ball python gene to keep the business going. Like that just I'm all set, man. I'd rather just have a couple projects that I think are appealing, and the people that I sell to will also think is appealing. Otherwise, they won't buy it, and that's just kind of that. Um, but I don't want to be a part of that engine. And I joked the other day, I was like, it's a weird shaped engine. It's kind of in the shape of a triangle. And, there's a couple of guys up at the top that do really well. And then there's everybody else, but it's fine. It's fine. Go spend money. Go do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's important for like longevity in the hobby that you have an interest aside from the money aspect. Like
absolutely.
I think a lot of people might get drawn into that, and I think it leads to burnout, or you're not that lucky guy who makes the good bet, or
Right.
has good timing, and then you're just like, man, I'll cut my losses, and then you just kind of don't pursue it anymore.
Yeah. And if you're an all or nothing kind of guy, and you took out a $50,000 loan or whatever, to get yourself started, and then you're like, okay, it's time to get out, and then you dump at a loss, and you've got this sour taste in your mouth, and it's like, oh man, that's not what this is about, like, and it's also interesting to see that this switch or the crossover when you enter breeder land and you start communicating with breeders, and then you go look at the pet side of things, because there are still people out there that do genuinely keep whatever it is they keep because they enjoy it, be it a ball python or anything else.
Right.
But as soon as you cross that line, it's like, no man, I gotta breed that thing, and if I can't get a clutch that's valued at X, then it's not worth it. And I move on, and you're like, wait, like, so you don't like the snake? Like, I don't understand it. But I mean, that's just how it's kind of gone throughout the years, which I think, again, for me, like coming back into the Amazon space was one of the more appealing things. Was like, yes, there's projects, yes, there's cool looking animals that get a pretty penny, but fundamentally, a large portion of people that you end up communicating with, they're like, I just think that's a cool snake, man. Like, what? Like those colors don't exist. Or my favorite, is that an emerald tree boa? No, it's its cooler, more multicolored cousin.
Yeah.
You better like this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I still, several times a day come into my snake room and look through the cages and just like look at the
Absolutely,
snakes,
man.
before I go to
100%.
bed, walk in, take a look around. All the snakes are out,
Yep.
doing their nighttime thing and just looking
It's
around.
just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I don't like handle my animals, a lot. I don't even really
Right.
handle them more than I need to. But like
Right.
I like to come in here and like look at them.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's I don't know how to explain that to like a normal person, or like a person that I don't know doesn't keep reptiles. I guess like
Yeah. No,
they're
I'm
like, yeah, so
100% with you.
you keep snakes. You're like, yeah. What do you do with them? Like, do you hold them? Like, not really.
Yeah. These ones are not for holding.
Yeah, I like to look at them. I take pictures of them. Like
Yeah. Yeah, they're just cool animals. I like the ones that don't just sit on the perch in the same pose for 13 hours a day. I
yeah,
want something that's gonna do something else.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like I love reptiles, but like I've gotten animals that I'm like, this doesn't like this is a cool animal, obviously, but like this doesn't fit with like
right.
my, I don't know what I'm looking for to like give care wise to an animal, you know, or like
Yeah.
I think lizards are really cool, and we actually have a bearded dragon, but like to have a bunch of bearded dragons is a huge pain in the ass.
Oh God, no.
And it's like, you know, they have to eat basically every day, and like they have to eat like a variety of food, you know, and
right.
like my snake, I feed him, you know, every week or something like that, you know. If
Right.
I miss, it doesn't even matter because he probably doesn't even recognize, you know, like probably doesn't even know.
Exactly, man. Yeah.
Or
That's
I can go on vacation and, you know, do fresh water, and then that's it. You know, like I don't worry about anything.
Yep.
Uh,
100%.
but
100%.
other animals, it takes a lot more care.
Yeah.
Some people are probably cool with that. You know, maybe some people enjoy that.
Right.
But
yeah, no, I'm with you for sure. Like, and when you've dialed in what you like, you know, you might have that moment of like you get something else because you're in that moment you're like, oh yeah, this is really cool, and then you kind of sit with it for a while and you're like, it is cool, but it doesn't, you know, it's fine, it's okay. Here, you take this, like, you know, I'm gonna pass this along to you. But like for me, I will never forget telling some of my closest friends that I was deciding to shift Brassman Reptiles to focus primarily on Amazon tree boas. And they're like, what do you mean? So you're downsizing? I don't understand. This word does not come from your mouth ever. Like, what is that supposed to mean? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go from, 250 ball pythons down to maybe a dozen. And I'm going to go from 50 carpet pythons to 10, like I'm going to make some space. I need to get rid of these and make space for these cages. And people are looking at me like, as long as we've known you, that's something's wrong. Why is this happening? And it was really hard to explain. And then it once it started to lock in, I was just like, these snakes are just freaking awesome. And
feels right.
Exactly. And my day to day is, as soon as I walk into the snake building, I go right to my Amazons and I'm looking at every single one of them. I'm poking my head into every single cage and just, hey, what are you doing? You out? You basking? Or what are you doing? And before I leave, I'm making my rounds through the Amazons. And I'm just like, all right, see you guys tomorrow, because I'm going to miss you for 10 hours while I go to sleep. But, it just, when you get that, yes, it's easy to get distracted because reptiles are cool, but there's that fundamental, like, no, this is it, man. Like, this is what I enjoy. And once you have that, it you can't take that away.
You need it for your sustainability, and you need it to, like, even if you're like a business, like you need it for your business sustainability. Like it needs to
absolutely
have more than just like, I'm doing this for business. Otherwise, you might as well be working like a 9 to 5, right? You know, like,
yes,
it's the same thing. You're like, okay, I do this, I make money. Yes, yay.
Yeah.
But like, do you feel happy about it? You know, like,
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like with ball pythons, I tell people who want to get into ball pythons for breeding and doing all that stuff, they always say, well, what should I get into? And I always tell them, if this is the route you're going to go, just get what you like. Start exploring the morphs that you like, because fundamentally you're the one that's got to take care of it. And if you're opening up that cage every day and you're just like, meh, then you've already lost.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to enjoy what it is you're doing, because that's fundamentally what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that brings you joy. And if it doesn't do that, then you've already lost, man. I could get bit by every single Amazon in my room. I'm going to scream when it happens, but I'm going to still leave the snake building with a smile on my face, and it may or may not include a blood drop somewhere on it. But that's when you get to that point. I also think from the business side, it's easier to communicate a project or a species that you really enjoy. Like, Rob and I talk about that all the time, man. Like getting to talk to somebody about an Amazon or him with a scrub python, like we've got so much more energy to talk about those animals because that's our passion project, versus like, oh well, yeah, I keep corn snakes too. They're, I love my corn snakes, but this Amazon tree, let me show you this Amazon tree, boy. Like
Authentic.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like people can feel the passion.
I was just going to say that exactly. And people know that difference, and that's what really makes it. Cause then you're not selling somebody a dream, you're just expressing something that genuinely makes you happy. And I think fundamentally people like seeing other people happy, and it gets them to be like, oh, well, I want to explore more about that. Like you're so hyped,
I want
like,
some happiness.
yeah. I'm so not happy. That's exactly right, man. Oh God. Listen, man, we've gone way over our normal hour time, but this has been a great conversation, man. I really do appreciate you coming in and hanging and chatting, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I had a blast. I had a great
Absolutely,
time.
man. Absolutely. Before we wrap this up, I've got one final question for you because we ask this to all of our guests. So that question is, in the realm of reptiles, be it something in your collection, something you've seen online, whatever, in the realm of reptiles, what has you excited about reptiles right now?
Ooh, what has me excited? I'm excited about like some animals I'm pairing up.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
I recently got a group of Corrales animals that are pretty rare in the hobby. And I am going to be pairing some of them up in a couple months, maybe.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So like I am excited. Like I have let's see here. I have 2.3 adults and 2.2 juvenile Venezuelan Russian burger eye.
Yes. Hell
Yeah. So
dude.
I'm hoping I can get, a litter or two this year.
Hell yes, man. That is very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm
here
excited
for that, dude. Do yours also want to annihilate you every time you open their enclosure?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're nasty. And they're big too.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. I have a
Yeah.
couple and I'm like, all you want to do is kill.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
They're cool. They're very I've had the Costa Rican Russian burger eye before. Those are cool as well.
Yeah.
But they're very neat. I love Corrales. Like
Hell yeah.
I would love to have, some more emeralds someday. So
Hell yeah, dude.
yeah.
I'm all about it, man. Definitely best of luck on that because there's not enough people producing Russian burger eye at all. So
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming and hanging again, man. This was great. We'll have to have you back when Rob's not stuck in Snowmageddon.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to talk to him too. So
hell yeah, man. Dude, thanks again. I'll of course link all your socials and stuff in the video so people can go and check you out. If people are just listening and not paying attention to text, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at HD Arboreals on Instagram. I mainly use Instagram now. Yeah, that's basically what I use as like, my business page. So that's a good spot.
Hell yeah. Sweet. Dude, thank you so much once again, man. This has been great.
Thanks for having me. It's a good talk, man.
Hell yeah, man.